Listen up, people. Manscaped have done it again. This time, it's the Chairman Pro, giving you a clean, close shave. The Chairman Pro is waterproof. The Chairman Pro has long-lasting battery life. And you use the code FTM20 and you will get 20% off of this product. Yes, people, big up to you all. 12th man is back. I've got another Gooner to Gooner with myself and one of my favourite Gooners, Chris Hudson. Please do me a favour. Hit the like button. Hit subscribe. Please make sure you check out manscaped.com. FTM20 is the code that you need. 20% off for Christmas. Please make sure you go and check them out. The link is in the description. And pinned in the comments, you will also see our new opportunity with reality raffles. Now, there is a big instant win and an opportunity for just the price of 99p, people, with a FTM10 code of 10% off as well to get a football match day package, winning up to £500. If any of you do want tickets to the game, then please make sure you click on that link in the pinned comment and in the description and make sure you go and check this prize out. There was an opportunity to win. It does close on New Year's Eve, so please make sure you go and get that sorted. 99 pence. It's an absolute bargain. Great opportunity. And there's quite a lot of instant wins as well. So please make sure you get involved with that one. Reality raffles are going to be sponsoring the channel, and there's going to be a lot more prizes that are going to be available. So please make sure that you do go and check that one out. Chris, how are you, mate?
Yeah, not bad. Bit frustrated, but yeah.
Yeah, I can imagine, my bro. I can imagine. I'm exactly the same. I know we were both there on Sunday, and that's where I want to start. Now, I know I've spoken a little bit with judges and some of the others about the game itself and the conditions and the team news and the injuries and everything is pretty much spoken about. But I actually want to start with the team selection because Mikel Arteta was quite brave and bold moving Timber out of right back. I think he's been one of our best players, or one of the best players, if not the best player, in the last few games. And the reason that our right-hand side has been so good. So I want to ask you about the actual team selection and what your thoughts were going into that game.
Well, the thing is, I thought this number 3, the left back for Arsenal, is becoming like a cursed shirt, isn't it? You know, Zinchenko plays injured. Tommy Asu's never there, injured. Calafiori, is he? I mean, I'm getting worried about him. Dan. Is he another one who's made of glass? So then he moves Timber to the left back. What I would have done, and I know people, it's a bit of a gamble. I would have left Timber where he was, and I would have played Miles Lewis-Selly there. But I think the reason he may have not have done that because he would have been up against Traore, you know, their speed merchant, who, funny enough, during the game actually did nothing. So he's at the answer. I know Partey's all right at right back, but I would have and then the people say, "Oh, you can't play against." Or sometimes you're going to have to play these youngsters. He's in the squad, so why not use him? I would have put Miles Lewis there at left back. That's what I would have done. But I'm just saying, this number 3 shirt, this left back, I thought we'd solved the problem buying Calafiori, but I'm not sure we have. And also, he had Tierney on the bench then. I mean, what he's been treated like, I don't understand why he's been. Oh, he's had a long-term injury. Well, Tierney's always coming back from injury. But don't tell me he couldn't have played 90 minutes at Fulham. So if he ain't fit, why is he on the bench?
I agree with everything you've just said. Now, look, I'll be honest with you. When you play Partey at right back, I actually don't mind his performances at right back in the last couple of games, but it ain't the go-to. It's the last resort option for me because he's been magnificent in midfield, Partey, this season. He's been number 6, superb he's been. So when you look at what options we did have, Miles Lewis-Skelly is one of them, but you don't trust him against Fulham. What did he play him against Liverpool and Man City for then?
Great point, Dan. That's a great point.
You got Kieran Tierney sitting there, who people think can't play in an Arteta system now.
Well,
we're not
agree
inverting the left back anyway now. So none of these players that are playing left back at the moment are inverting like he wants to, like Zinchenko used to do a couple of seasons ago. We actually haven't inverted the left back for quite some time from what I can see, unless we've been doing it poorly because it ain't been working from what I can see. So Timber at left back is fine for me. I don't mind him there. That's not the issue. But Partey at right back is. Timber is levels better as a right back as well, by the way, than anything that we've got. Timber at right back is magnificent. And you're right about injury-prone players. How can we have a defence this stacked with about 9 or 10 of them, and half of them are injured on the bench all the time?
Well,
Now, Kieran Tierney, by the way, just quickly on Tierney, I think the way he's been treated is disgusting, by the way, by the manager. Absolutely disgraceful. You either do one of two things. You say, look, mate, I'm going to get rid of you eventually, but I need you to give your absolute all, and I will make it worth your while by going and getting a career somewhere else. Or what you do is you say, look, you've had a right nightmare with injuries. You will play for us, and we'll make a decision on your future at the end of the season. But we are going to need you this year because we've got problems in your position. Yes, boss, I'll play when needed. But instead, he's been sat on the bench like a cardboard cutout. There's no point of having him there at all because he doesn't trust the guy. And what has he actually done wrong? I would understand him if he'd said, you know what, this guy's making errors every game. What's he still doing here? Get him gone. But the
thing is, Dan, he's been from potential Arsenal captain to Arsenal outcast.
Yep.
And what you say, he hasn't done anything wrong. And I'll tell you something, in January, if I was someone like an Ipswich or a Southampton, or say someone like Leicester, I'll be all over him. Because he's a wonderful attitude, he's a fantastic professional. I know injuries, I feel he's cursed, Thierry, the boy. It's sad for him. But he's a good player, Dan, you're right. I don't understand it. Do you know we've had 9 different back fours this season?
Disgraceful.
9.
But what do you put that down to? Like, I know it's injuries, but are we just buying injury-prone players or something?
I've no idea. This season, I think we're cursed. We're having more injuries. I think this season we're making up for the 2 years we've had no injuries. You know, we're seeing people get injured who never get injured. Gabriel, Ben White, you know, they play week in, week out. But, I mean, I don't know what's happening this season, mate. I just think it just sums up the whole season, isn't it? It's very, very frustrating.
It is. I'll tell you what else is frustrating. This style of play, that when the going gets tough, lump it in the box and hope we get a header. I'm not enjoying it, mate. I'm sorry, I'm not enjoying it. You know, a lot of people are saying set piece again, a lay, and how fun it is to watch us all be set pieces now. Set pieces is part of the game, Chris. I understand it, right? But it shouldn't be your style of play. It should not be that you only get excited when you get a set piece, because our goal was in play, right? I think we're 18th in the league for goals in play.
But you know why, Dan? Because we're very lopsided. Everything goes down the right. And because the left is so weak now, I mean, that takes us on to another argument about Martinelli and Trossard. I mean, both of them are not having very good seasons. We're so weak. So you've got problems at left back. You've got problems with Martinelli and Trossard. Everything's going, we're overloaded down the right-hand side. And then it starts, then we go, in that case, who can we bring on? And then we get into the problem we've got with the forward. This is the weakest forward line we've had for years. You know, and I get annoyed when I see people having to go at Havertz, by the way, because you can't rotate him because we've got no one to rotate him with.
Gabriel, when he comes off,
Jesus,
was awful.
It's a nightmare, you know. And then I'll tell you, my mood wasn't better when I heard Lee Judges yesterday on slip in a little comment, but he was speaking to someone at Arsenal who've admitted that they know Havertz is not a 20-goal a season man. Well, that's making me feel 100% worse. So if you know that, why have you not done anything about it and take some of the load off of him?
Well, when I heard that, I've got to be honest, when I heard who it was who said it as well, that was even more worrying.
Well, I don't want to know, Dan.
Oh, I'll tell you offline, mate. You'll be stunned. But anyway, listen, when I look at that squad, the people that were arguing with me the minute that transfer window shut was unbelievable. And they're not arguing with me now. They're all agreeing with me. So I had Robbie outside the stadium and I was having a go at him. He was having a go at me back on one of my fan cams. So I can't remember what game it was now. I think it was the Brighton game. And I said, this bench is a disgrace for the window just to be shut. we've got so much strength in depth now. We've got Jesus to come on. Sterling's just arrived. We've got Trossard or Martinelli. We've got youngsters like Lewis Skelly and Waneri coming through. He's correct. Every single one of those he's correct with. But are they adequate cover? That's the real question we've got to ask here. It's all right having cover. I could be a cover player if I want. I can go and sit on the bench and be cover. But is it adequate cover? This is what annoys me with this club. We have this so many times. We do the bare minimum every window to try and get across the line. And this is why I'm looking at the board and the ownership as well as the manager now. Because the manager I'll come back to in a minute because some of his in-game management has been poor this year. But that squad is not a title-winning squad, Chris, is it?
Well, compare our forward options with Chelsea, Man City and Liverpool. Actually, you can compare our forward options with Aston Villa.
And Brighton.
But it's not... I tell you, look at Eddie. I mean, I don't... he led the line at Arsenal for 2 years when we were chasing down Man City. He goes to Eddie. He can't get in there. He goes to Palace. He can't get in their team. So what does that tell him? And you're right about
his first goal of the league, isn't he?
Yeah, and you're right about what you're saying. We get so far and we never make that final leap just to get over the line. It's ridiculous. I mean, and I'll tell you something else. There's some players in our squad who walk into any team on this planet. Saka, Odegaard, Saliba, Gabriel, etc. I said they don't deserve to be having a squad that ain't good enough. And I said they're not going to hang around forever. I said, they all love playing for the Arsenal. I know Saliba the other day says, I don't want to go anywhere else. But that's only going to go on for so long. At the end of their career, they want medals, Dan.
So I'll tell you what, right? I'd love a way to do this. What you've just said there in 2 minutes or 30 seconds to a minute, I'd love to rewind that to 2010 or 2016 when we were talking about Fabregas and Sanchez and Van Persie in the same light. And now we're using the words Saka and Saliba and Odegaard instead. Now, I'm with you. I think we're safe for a couple of years, but it ain't no more than that. And a couple of years goes like that, Chris. Yeah? So if we get to a stage this season where we are trophyless, which still might not happen, we could win something. If it does get to that stage, they are going to start in a couple of years going, when does this end then? When do we get across the line here? Because this has been 5 years now. What's going on? Now it's turned into 7 years. Now it's turned into 9 years.
Well, actually, he's going to turn into 22 years, Dan. Think about winning the league. I mean, I'll tell you something. You will send me over the edge if Chelsea win it.
Oh, please don't. Honestly. Can you imagine? Can you imagine? Forget who wins. If it ain't Man City and it ain't Arsenal, it has been an absolute abysmal season, in my opinion. Absolutely abysmal if Liverpool or Chelsea win this league. And I mean, Chelsea, by the way, what excuse do you need? What phase is Maresca in? Is he in phase 5? You know what I mean? He's just walked in the door. And then what I keep hearing, and this really frustrates the hell out of me, is, Chelsea spent 1.2 billion. What do you expect? What do you expect? We were laughing at them last year. Laughing at them. Yeah, the way they were run, the way their money they spent, and all this. This is, and they still ain't got a good enough goalkeeper, defence, or a proper striker, Chelsea. So if they go and win it without them, what are they going to do with them? I don't think Chelsea will win the league, right? But I look at it now, I think that everyone looks a mess, and we ain't capitalising. Liverpool.
And another thing, Dan, we're going to come up to January, and I'll tell you something. I don't want to see Arsenal sitting on their hands and saying, January is a difficult market. Because I'll tell you what the frightening thing is, that I think Man City, Liverpool and Chelsea will spend in January, which at the moment could take them even further away from us. And we got to buy a forward. I don't want to hear no excuses, Dan. I want a forward in that club in January. And I don't mean Dominic Calvert-Lewin either. I don't want another injury-prone player walking through the door. I mean, do me a favour. I mean, Ferguson at Brighton, I see he's linked today. I'll take a chance on him, but I wouldn't be spending big money. But we need quality, and then I know quality costs. So that you got Newcastle, you're going to have to hit them with about £100 million. We're not going to do that. So I don't know. I really don't know where we're going to go in January, Dan.
Well, in January, it's going to be underwhelming. And I'll tell you why. Because every single player that we need are 100 million. Because if you look at a left winger that is available, Nico Williams is the only cheap one. Because Kvaratskhelia from Napoli I'd love, but he's going to be unbelievable amounts of money. I'd take Andy Gordon from Newcastle. I think he's a good left winger, but he's going to be a lot of money. Isak's going to be 100 million. Gyökeres is going to be the cheaper version. You know, Turkish made a good point last night. I was listening to him, and he said there's no excuses about not getting anyone in January because two of them have got release clauses in Osimhen and Gyökeres, and we need a striker. So which one of them are we going to release the clause of? And I think we need to release one of them because we are in a mess right now with Jesus coming on. I mean, I don't know if you saw him against Fulham. He bottled a 50-50. This is our striker coming up. Absolute shambles of a player he's turning into. I mean, he has been a flop.
The thing is, I think I'm trying to be kind to him, Dan. I don't like being slagging off players, but I think what's happening there, the injuries are taking their toll, Dan. And I wonder, I know, he went in for that 50-50 in the game. I wonder if something went through his mind going, I'm not sure here. You know what I mean? It's like when you have a bike. Yeah. If you've had a bike accident, you get back on the bike. You know what I mean? Perhaps he's a bit. I'm trying to be nice to him, Dan. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I've got more the hunt with Sterling. He must will be. Tell me what he is doing at Arsenal. I want someone to come on here now and explain it to me. What's that? What's he doing, Dan?
Well, he's a cardboard cutout, isn't he, on the bench? He's not there. I'm sure he's not actually existed. He's like a hologram. You know what I mean? I'm sure it's a hologram. You know, when you get like those, we haven't actually got him as a hologram. That's what it looks like at the moment. And I'm not excited by it, by the way. When we signed him, I thought it was a disgrace. And everyone went positive again. Well, we don't know. Arteta wants to get the best out of him. Name me an attacker that Arteta has actually got the best out of. Because Saka and Ødegaard are the only two I can look at in our front line in the last 5 years that I haven't got anything out of. I look at what he's doing. Let's just be real for a minute. We have not replaced Aubameyang's goals. Jesus is worse than what Lacazette was. People laughed at him. I didn't, but people laughed at him when we had Pepe. What a clown he is. But I'd love his bloody assists and his goals now for someone to do that. I'd love Sterling to replace those bloody assists that he had. And he was no good for Arsenal, by the way. But he's better than what we've had. Willian, Trossard's fallen off a cliff. Martinelli looks one of the most lack of the confidence players I've seen in a long time. Oh, what's going on with this club, Chris? What is it about this attack? These strikers, we can't get the best out of them, can we?
And the thing is, you know what is worrying, Dan? We've got nothing coming through the youth system. We haven't got a lot of number 9 that I could be coming on here and saying,
the one we did.
Well, yeah, Obi Marn, yeah. And he ain't stopped scoring since he went there either, by the way. And that's I know we got these two boys coming through at the moment, and we got the young 14-year-old at the Dowman and Raven. Yeah. But other than that, I mean, if you look at our youth team results, they're not very impressive at the moment. But that's a show for another day, you know.
No, you're right, and I'm with you about the two young lads. I think one area at the moment is actually one of the subs I'm looking forward to seeing, and that's a worry. When you're going for a title, you shouldn't be bringing on a 17-year-old to go, right, let's lift us. That should not be happening.
The ideal game is definitely Wednesday, because that's a game. You've got to please play him in that game and give him 90 minutes. Just, Monaco are not going to come and kick us all over the pitch. They'll be a typical French team. They play lovely football, have high technical ability, and they're going to give us a game. And that's the sort of game I think you can give him a run, Dan. Whereas on Everton, on Saturday, it's going to be dogs of war, isn't it? They'll be kicking everything it moves. Grizzly, 90 minutes. I'm not looking forward to that Everton game, by the way. But yeah, there you go.
Well, at the moment, I'm not looking forward to the Arsenal games because I don't know what I'm going to get, mate, if I'm honest with you. This is a really good point in the chat as well. I'm going to bring in some questions and some comments and super chats now. Imad says, Chelsea managed to get Sancho on loan. We got Sterling on loan, and Sterling was at Chelsea. If they realised that Sancho was available, we should have been all over that, really, in comparison to Sterling. Now, at the time, I didn't want him. I'll say this because I didn't want him because I wanted better than both of them, right? But if there was an option between one of them two, who are you taking? You ain't taking Sterling, are you? You're taking Sancho. I mean, come on, man. What is wrong with this? This recruitment is an absolute disgrace, to be fair. SG says Erdegaard is our important player, but what captain gets subbed off 21 times when we're trying to win a game? Erdegaard's a bench player at best. Now, look, I heard this the other day that Erdegaard keeps getting subbed off. I actually thought he was pretty quiet the other week at the weekend. I didn't think he had his best game, and I do think coming back from injury, you've got to be realistic about it. But when the going does get tough, I do look towards Erdegaard sometimes, and I do want to see a little bit more. Now, he's definitely not the one I'm looking at, by the way.
No.
I think it's quite harsh to be looking at Erdegaard, but big up for your comment, SG. I do agree that there are times where he needs to do a lot more. But I do look at that, and I think that where is the Odegaard replacement? And it is Wanyeri. And I can't believe that we cleared out Smith Rowe, Nelson, and Ketia and Vieira, and we brought in Sterling to replace the four of them. That is what we did. That is a disgrace. That's a sackable offence, isn't it, Chris? Let's be real. Heads should roll for that.
Well, perhaps heads did roll down. Perhaps that's why Edu's gone out the door.
Maybe.
You know, I mean, I think that, in Edu, I suppose, if he's on 6 months gardening leave, he's not going to say anything either, is he? Perhaps the story that come out about Edu, about, if you think about it, what you've said there might have cost Edu his job.
Well, maybe. I mean, I'd love to be able to answer this question, Chris, from Michael. Why is Sterling staying on the bench? Because as much as we're looking at Sterling and people are getting the ump, it ain't really his fault, because he's just there to try and get fit and play football, and they're not playing him.
Right. What did Arteta say the other week? He said, I've been unfair on him. He says things, and you go, well, all right, perhaps. But then, as the weeks go by, what he says doesn't run true. It's weird, isn't it? It's like Gabby Jesus in the summer. Oh, I've looked in at his eyes. I've seen the hunger. We're going to see the old Gabby back. Really? Remember Arteta said that, Dan?
Yeah. Well, he said a lot. He's spoken about a lot, and some of it is nonsense, what he talks about, by the way. I mean, I don't want to go in on a manager too much, but I don't know many managers over the years, Clough, Klopp, Wenger, Pep, George Graham, Ferguson. I don't know many of them obsessed with light bulbs and buying dogs and pickpocketing their staff and all this crap he comes out with. Like, that to me is a nonsense in it. And he sits in I've got different formations. I go down the M6 and I'll go the A12. And I'm thinking, has this guy lost it? Or is that me? Like, what is happening here? Like, seriously, man, it's absolutely crazy as far as I'm concerned. But there's a lot he said I don't get, to be honest with you, mate.
But the thing is, I mean, being honest, and I don't think we are in the league title race, Dan, really, do you?
No, not at the moment. I said this. Ask me in February again. But at the moment, the answer is no, we're not. And that's just the way it is. Like that is just the way it is at the moment, man. Let me get these comments, and I've got a question on that to throw at you as well. Hooks, you're a legend, man. You sent people over and you're rated. I did see that. Thank you so much, man. I need to make you a mod as well, bro. Absolute legend. Really appreciate that. Make sure you go follow Halftime Hooks, man. He's just done a show with Big Steve, so make sure you get over there, see what Steve's chatting about Man City wise. So make sure you do that. Let's get a couple of these super chats in, Chris. This one comes in from Suge. He says, big up Dan and the legend Chris. All I'll say is Arteta is stuck in his ego. The majority of people will disagree, but I wouldn't offer Partey a new contract. He's too injury prone and he's been lucky this season. I was going to ask you about this because Thomas Partey this season actually has been really good in terms of his reliability, consistency, and how well he's playing. Him and Jorginho come to the end. If we get rid of both of them, we need two midfielders in the summer. What are we going to do here?
Well, then that's funny enough. You've got to ask yourself, what's Mourinho done since he come here?
Great question.
But if you ask me who I'd go in the summer and buy, I would buy Walton from Palace if I could get him. Because I really rate him. And then I suppose another from the boy Rio Sociedad. But that's if Liverpool don't go and try and get him in January. But Mourinho is another strain. He's another one who's injured, Dan. Isn't he? And he plays Jorginho. I thought he would have played it Fulham on the weekend, but no, he's stuck on the bench, isn't he? We haven't seen that Odegaard, Mourinho, Rice midfield yet, have we? Or have we? Have we seen that this season?
I've got a great question on that, which I'm actually really interested to get your thoughts on because I'm losing my head with some of the fan base at the moment about it. SG also says, Dan, remember some of our fan base said that Tony is overrated when he only costs 40, but Havertz costs 65 with 275 a week. Doesn't make any sense. This is the other thing. Let me just come on this quick because Jesus is on 265 a week. Havertz is on near 290 a week. We're supposed to go and get another striker. We're going to have to offer him 300k a week because the other two, that's what they're on. So is that going to happen, Chris?
Well, you'd have to get rid of one. We're not getting rid of Havertz. So you try and get rid of Jesus back to Brazil or the Far East. Someone must want him. Even if you've got to pay some of his wages. But, but the thing is, I think we've all been, I suppose I'm brainwashed. Arsenal have brainwashed me because I sort of sit here thinking, we're not going to do anything in January, even though I know but we have to. or the season's going to go puff of smoke, mate. We can't go through this whole season running Havertz into the ground, paying him week in, week out with no backup. Even if we have to go in the loan market. Like other clubs do loans, but I suppose our record on the loans ain't exactly, how can I say, good.
No, you're right, bro. Just say how it is. I know we don't want to be too harsh because it's early days and we can still have a good season, but things have got to change. Otherwise, we ain't going to have a good season, And look, I wanted to ask you about the midfield. You made a really good point about Marino coming in and not having the chance yet to shine. Rice is playing in the 6, then the 8, then back in the 6, then a double pivot, then box to box, then an 8 again, then a 6. No idea what we're doing with him. We've got Partey coming in and out of 6 and right back. Jorginho coming in and getting ahead of some of them now. Waneri not being offered the chance when Odegaard was unfit. You got bloody Trossard who's coming in playing 10, then he's going up again, then he's going on the left again, then he's on the bench again. This is a mess, mate. This is an absolute mess. We have not been able to get any consistency or sustainability in the team, let alone one of the sides of the pitch. So this midfield, what the hell does he want to do with it? Because we bought. I put a tweet out yesterday and it sent everyone in a meltdown, as it normally does. We spent £100 million on Rice, and I don't know what his best position is, Chris. I think it's the 6. People are telling me it's an 8. I don't think he's good in the 8. I don't think he's good there at all. I'd have him in the double pivot or in the 6.
Yeah, I agree with you, Dan. But I've got to say about Declan Rice, in the last 3 or 4 games, he's been outstanding.
He's started to pick it up now because you know why? Because he's been fitter. Because England, he's had a rest now.
Yeah, he actually said that, didn't he? The Euros affected him badly. But going back, I think I've got a lot of time for Declan Rice. He gives it all. Yeah. I love him, and he's a player who deserves not to have no options up. When he looks up, he's got to see better options than what he's seeing now, mate. I'm telling you.
I honestly, mate, I'm in a position where I'm starting to question what the departments. Okay, let me ask you, because I genuinely don't know this. I genuinely don't know the answer to this, right? We've had quite a long time now under Mikel Arteta to get this team right. Forget about his future and what he's won and ain't won and all that crap. We'll talk about that another time. I look at what he's trying to build, and I don't think he's completed one department yet, and we're 5 years in. Because our attack ain't complete, our midfield ain't complete, and our defence still ain't complete. And people might think the back four's complete, and I'd probably agree with that. We still ain't got no Saliba cover, no Saka cover, no Odegaard cover, and no centre forward. So why are we 4 players behind still? None of that department has been complete. Maybe I'm being harsh. I mean, if you think I am, honestly, be honest with me. Because sometimes
I haven't thought about it like that, Dan. I've got to admit, you're right, mate. It's weird. I can't get my head around that. You sort of startled me a bit there. Yeah, you're right. He hasn't completed. And actually, I tell you, even the goalkeeping situation, he hasn't completed. I mean, Raya is wonderful. He's the undisputed number 1. But what's behind him?
A cup-tied goalkeeper who's 35.
I know. Yeah. So really, that puts a little bit more meat on your point. But the more I think about it, you're right.
I mean, look, it might sound harsh, but I feel like we are Let's just say it right. If I said to you now in the summer, what do Arsenal need? You wouldn't go
Well,
just a striker and we're done, would you?
no.
You'd go, well, we've got to sort these injury-prone players out of the back. We've got to get Saliba cover. We need a backup goalkeeper that's reliable, that ain't just one on loan. We need a centre forward. We need a left winger. We've got to get Erdegaard covered. That's 6 players already.
It's frightening, isn't it?
It is frightening. We're supposed to be end of process and we're ready to go now. We're nowhere near it, mate. Like, let's just be real. Like I'm sick of it all. It ain't just Arteta, by the way. These owners have got to look at this and say, are they happy with this process? Because when I'm seeing Liverpool and Chelsea out jumpers in 1 year, and by the way, they've got new managers, by the way. You know, Turkish made a good point. Arteta ain't beaten either of those managers. You know, when people come in first time, like Maresca and Slot, you think, oh, we'll have them for breakfast because they've only just walked in the door. We ain't beaten either of them. Do you know what I mean? So, like, this is the problem. We've got a lot that's going wrong at the moment. And I don't know about you. Like, you asked me earlier, are we in a title race? I don't really look at how many points we're around people yet. I look with my own eyes about how we're playing, and we ain't ready for the title. We ain't good enough, mate. We ain't good enough. We play nice football, and then when a team goes right, they're good. They're tasty side, Arsenal on their day. Let's make it hard for them. Marco Silva, by the way, very underrated manager. He's going to make it difficult for us at the weekend. And what have we done? Well, we ain't got an answer for this, lad. So everyone line up, try and get your bonds on this. Here it comes. That's not good enough, mate. We ain't got an answer for it.
The thing is, and we didn't have an answer last year when we played Fulham either, did we? But the thing is, we're sounding very critical here, but the thing is, we've gone from a team that we only finished 2 points behind Man City. We should have won the league last year. I'm beginning to wonder, was that our best ever chance then? Well, do you mean is this team, this group of players hit a ceiling? And what you're saying now is a great point. I think it could need totally refreshing again. Some decisions might have to be made, not about the players that you think we're going to sell, but others that might have to go, like, you know, should we sell Martinelli? I know it's controversial. This question's got to be asked about some of the squad we got, not just the injured players, and that means that we need a complete rebuild again, and that means we're another 2 years away. So it goes on and on and on.
Mate, if we do another rebuild now, what was this rebuild all for? I mean,
and then at the moment we haven't got Edu. Edu's replacement's still not gone through the door, is he? And I see they're talking about that Dan Ashworth.
Oh,
I mean, he's had a right result there, hasn't he?
This guy wanted Southgate, and then they said we're getting hammer him, and he left. That's the rumor. He ain't. I mean, look, he did a good job at Brighton and Newcastle, and then he went to Man United. Everyone was like, "Brilliant! This Ashworth knows what he's doing." But let's be real. It was Tony Bloom who was at Brighton, because look how Brighton are good without him. He knows what he's doing, Tony Bloom. He's appointing the right people. Newcastle, the way he treated Newcastle was, let's be real, was a disgrace. They can't stand Dan Ashworth. So I ain't interested in this. I want to get someone who's got a proper understanding of how to win football matches and how to take a club to the next level. And I don't care who it is. I want someone to line up, even if it's out of Larby or if it's Luis Campos or if it's what's his name from Marco Nepe or one of these guys, like the Monaco CEO, that says, "Look, I know how to do this. I've done this with X, Y, Z." It doesn't have to be going win trebles and going being dominant in football. You know, someone who knows what they're doing behind the scenes, because we don't have the experience of this club, mate. We don't. We have owners that don't know how to understand football because they run American sports. We've got a new manager, whether you think he's a great manager or a novice or whatever you want to call him. He's only been in the job for 5 years as a manager, let alone 5 years at Arsenal. You've got no experience at the board level. The only one is Richard Garlick. He's the only one who's got a bit of experience. I need an experienced head to come in at the age of 50 to 60 to say, right, I've done this for 30 years. Hello, Kitty Cat. We've done this for 30 years, and I know what I'm doing. Honestly, mate, it's just one of those, man. One of those. But I'm in a bit of a mess with it all, mate, if I'm honest with you.
But the thing is, I know it's putting a lot on the young boy's shoulders, but if Arteta was to take his brave pills and give young Ephraim a little bit of a run, you know, I mean, he could change our season. And I really believe that, because he's a wonderful talent, and I think he needs unleashing, Dan. And
I think he's wonderful, mate.
He could change our season. And then in January, I'm not asking people say to me, "Oh, you're always moaning, you want to go Arsenal go and spend." I'm not asking Arsenal to go and spend £100 million in January, but don't tell me with our scouting system, open bracket question mark, that you can't find a striker somewhere on planet football who come in and do us a job. Because I refuse to believe it.
Same. I
We
refuse to
used to
believe
do it. I mean, you remember when we found Eduardo from nowhere?
Yep. Found Eduardo. And then in January, people will say, oh, we don't usually. Well, we did buy Aubameyang in January, and we did
When we
buy
bought Walcott
Arshava
in January, and Arshavin in January.
Arshavin, bloody Trossard, to be fair to him, as much as we all laughed and said we wanted someone better, Trossard was a good signing in January, to be fair. We need to go and get these players in, man. Unless
you know what's going to happen, Dan. I'll give you the quotes now. It's January's always a difficult window. We don't really like doing a lot of business. We are we playing for the summer? Blah, blah, blah. And while we're ooming and ahhing and sitting our hands, do not be surprised if the teams around us go and spend some money this year. I think this could be one of the most busiest Januaries for a long time.
Well, Man City again, they've come out and said they're linking Bruno Guimaraes and they want Zubimendi. Liverpool are still interested in Zubimendi, and they also want a left back. You got Chelsea who are going to go and get a striker. It's probably going to be Osimhen or someone like that. So we have to go and sort us out. And if we sit there and these bloody things and say it's too hard to get anyone, I'm sick. I'm sick of it. I'm going for them. I'm sick of hearing this every year. We can't get anyone in January. The winter transfer window is just called January for Arsenal. We don't do anything. It's just a joke, man. No, seriously, it is unbelievable how many people just sit. Yeah, I agree with it. I agree with it. This comes in with Suge. I don't think Arteta knows what his best team is at the moment. That's why we only see Saliba, Gabriel, Saka, and Odegaard who aren't changing their roles. I've named this. I've titled this "Stop Tinkering with Our Team," Chris, because I feel like he's doing too much, mate. He's overthinking it too much. He's not trusting in his squad again. He's changing people left back, then right back, then in the middle, then up top to the right, to the left, blah, blah, blah. It's getting really frustrating seeing our players all play out of position. And I thought that was quite obvious at the weekend, particularly with Timber and Partey. He's done it in the past with Rice. He's done it at times with Trossard. We've got Havertz at the time last season. He was dropping into bloody midfield. I'm sick of it. I just want to see the players we've got in their best positions. And if they ain't around or injured, you play the backup. That's how it should work.
But but the backup, he obviously doesn't trust the backup there. And this goes right back how he started his program. The squad ain't good enough. He won't, and he's admitting that by not trusting people, isn't he? Because he keeps saying, I had to let Smith Rowe go to give Ephraim a run in the team. But he's only played 90 minutes this season. If you add up all his minutes he's played for the Arsenal, it comes to 90 minutes. But in those 90 minutes, I would suggest he's done more than some players have done in 300 minutes. He's a talent, and he's got pleas on Wednesday. I really want him to play Wednesdays. I think he could make a difference. I really do.
Well, look, let's move on to Wednesday. I'm just going to put you on mute while I'm talking, Chris, because there's an echo every time I'm chatting. I think it's coming off of your phone. So I'm mute when I ask you a question, mate. Look, I think tomorrow night we've got to go out there and we've got to bounce back again. And what's frustrating is we can't go on these absolute runs. We can't go on these runs. We keep slipping up. We can't go on a run of more than 5 games at the Arsenal at the moment. I look at the league table. Last season, we lost 5 games. Drew 5 games, and we got 89 points, and we finished very, very high. We haven't actually got much time left for error. So when I look at 5 draws already and 2 losses already, that means if we lose 3 more games between now and the end of the season, we've only equalled what we did last season, and that weren't enough. Now, some might say that we equal what we did last season and we win it because this season we won't need 90-odd points. That's fine. That means we can only really afford 3 more games to drop. That's mad. We've had 15 games and we've dropped it in 7 of them. That's nearly half. That means we've won half of them and we've lost or drew the other half. That's like top 4 form. That ain't good enough. So tomorrow night is where we try and put it right again. And this is what we've got to look at a moment. I actually forget about the title. I don't look at how many points we are behind and how many points Chelsea are in front and what Man City are doing behind us and is there anyone else might get involved in this title race. At the moment, I use my eyes and it says, you ain't as good as Liverpool right now. So forget the title until things change. Ask me again at the end of January, we'll look where we are. Ask me again at the end of February, we'll look where we are. If we get to January, February time, we're 4 points behind Liverpool, let's have a discussion. Cool, we're in a title race. We get to the end of March and we're a couple of points behind them. Of course, we can start to get excited then. But right now, let's be real, it's 9 points because they ain't going to lose to Everton like people think. They ain't going to. I know it's a different game, Merseyside derby, but they ain't going to lose. So tomorrow's where we put it right. I agree with you. Waneri needs more minutes. I also think that we need to keep Partey into midfield and stop mucking around with him at right back. And he needs to trust one of Lewis Skelly or Tierney at left back if we've still got these injury problems. Now, hopefully, Gabriel and Calafiori are back soon. We start to get players back. But at the moment, we've only really got Ben White and Gabriel that are out. So we ain't got 5 or 6 injuries, but we're tinkering with this team like we're at bare bones. So he needs to start trusting this squad. And if he don't trust this squad, it goes back again to why he does not trust his squad like last season. He didn't trust Vieira. He didn't trust Reece Nelson. Reece Nelson, he now don't trust Sterling. He now don't trust Waneri. He now don't trust Miles Lewis-Skelly. He now don't trust Tierney. So why are they all in the squad, Chris? No, you're on mute, mate. Sorry, mate. You're on mute, Chris. You have to unmute yourself.
Well, I'll be a very happy man, but I just don't know, Dan. It's quite, what's the word I'm looking for? Mystifying. There you are.
Yeah.
But he's got to sort it out, Dan, because, you know, we can't go through another season of winning zilch. I'm telling you, you know that, you know, we all laugh at Tottenham because they've won nothing, blah, blah, blah. But, you know, we haven't won the league for 22 years. When's the last time we won a League Cup? 93. Well, the FA Cup record is what, you know, is right up there. We were the best. When's the last time we won a European trophy, then? So, you know, perhaps I'm being harsh, but that's facts, isn't it? That's a few. If you add those few years, that's a few seasons, mate. Well, we have come near the last 2 years, and then under Wenger we won the FA Cup, so we nearly won the league 3 or 4 times. If it wasn't for Eduardo breaking his leg, I think we would have. But you know, like, time don't wait for no one, mate. And then, as I keep on saying, these players ain't going to be here forever. You know, Saliba doesn't want to get to the end of his career, and he's sitting back in France, looking at the Mediterranean. He opens up his drawer and he's got nothing in there. But I did enjoy playing for the Arsenal. I loved it there. And the same with these players deserve Saka, Odegaard, Gabriel, etc. are world-class players. They get into any team in the world then, and we're letting them down. Forget what they're doing to us. We'll be here, as much as we moan, we'll be here forever. Even we got relegated or something like that. But these players are only passing through. It's their careers. And at the end of their career, they want something to show for it. They don't want to be sitting there thinking, oh, that year, but we didn't really string. We had poor old Carl up front. We ran him into the ground. But, you know, we love playing for the Arsenal. Life ain't like that. And I'll tell you, it's not fair. It's not fair on Havertz, but I get very protective towards Havertz, Dan, when I see people slag him off. People, you've got to start using your head. He's playing every week for every game for Germany. He's playing every week for the Arsenal. So it's bound to take its toll, isn't it? And because we have not got adequate cover, I can't rest him. It's wrong.
Mate, I don't blame Havertz. I don't think he's good enough for a start like every single week. I like him as a squad player, bringing him on like we should have done with Giroud instead of playing him every bloody game back in 2016. Yeah, we needed a striker, need another striker. It's like rinse and repeat, mate. This is going back to the bloody 2016. We needed a striker as well as Giroud. Now we're in a position we need a striker as well as Havertz that's playing in front of him or sometimes behind him or sometimes with him. And we're in a position now where people are now starting to get peeved with the players when really it ain't the players. It's actually what we've got behind the scenes. Looking at these, who is Erdegaard's cover? Who is this number 9? Who is the backup for Saka? Why is it Sterling? Why is it Jesus? Why is it a 17-year-old that, let's be real, I'm happy with, but at the time we didn't know much about? This is not good enough by the management of the club. And you're right about fans and players. Players are passing through to try and win trophies. Fans are going to be there till the end, which is why we have a right to get bloody annoyed when we see us, what we're doing. The other thing you said, which is bang on, by the way, it's been 21 years since we won a Premier League title. It's been 31 since the European trophy and 31 since the League Cup. This is disgraceful. Not the club size of the Arsenal. Now, we've won FA Cups, and I get that, and I love FA Cups, and I'll never slag them off, right? And I want one this year. But sometimes you look and think, we were competing at the very best. And I remember Peter Illwood, bless him. We need to move to compete with the very best. We already were at Highbury. We were already in Champions League finals, winning doubles, going invincible, unbeaten. We moved to the Emirates, and since Kroenkes have come in, we ain't competed with any of those teams. I can't remember more than 2 semi-finals since we've moved to the Emirates. In fact, it's only been 1, I think. So when I look at where we're at now, it's been a shambles. And I look at the last 5 years, and people say, "Oh, I'm glad Wenger's gone." Look, I'm glad Wenger's gone as well because we needed to move forward. But his last 5 years have been 10 times better than Mikel Arteta's last 5 years. And that's worrying. That's worrying when we sacked him. And he should have been sacked, by the way. Should have got rid of him. But those 5 years of his last was 13-14 FA Cup win, 14-15 FA Cup win, 15-16 title race with Leicester, but we lost that, 16-17 FA Cup win, 17-18 League Cup final loss to Man City, and a semi-final loss to Atletico Madrid, and then he went, and we come 5th. And now we've got Arteta, 8th, 5th, 2nd. Sorry, mate.
Yeah, when you put it like that, it's quite frightening. But the thing is, Dan, to make you, if there was this sort of technology 20, 30, 40 years ago, I can go back to Terry Neal, Bertie Mee, George Graham. We'll be having the same conversation. This ain't a one-off. This is Arsenal's DNA. This is what they do all through their history. It's very rarely in Arsenal's history you got to go back. I mean, obviously I wasn't here in the 1930s, but my dad and my granddad was. You got to go back to the 30s when we dominated football, and even when we done the double under Bertie Mee, the following years were a disaster. And anyone of a certain age will tell you that. And we look at with George Graham. We won the league, the fantastic night at Anfield. The following year we dropped down. Then we won it again in 91. But the years after that, we become a cup team. We were coming 10th and 12th in the league because they wouldn't go that extra mile. It happens all the time. The only time if people are like listening to this at the moment that Arsenal really did put their foot down and stay at the top was under Wenger. The first 10 or 12 years under Wenger, with him and Dean were just a wonderful partnership. But just to make everyone feel a little bit better, and you, Dan, this ain't a one-off, mate. This has happened all my Arsenal life.
Yeah.
But the thing is, it doesn't make it easier. That doesn't mean I enjoy it. Well, I get upset when I see the amount of quality in this team. We have got players that will grace any club side in the world. They really would. And then when I go to Fulham and see the Arsenal's away support is fantastic. Arsenal support is fantastic. They want to put an extra 20,000 seats in the Emirates. In brackets, would the box office be able to cope with that? But that's another story. People know what I mean when I say that. So we're doing our bit, but the people that are running the club, come January, you've got to get off your backside and do your bit. Do not sit on your hands in January and we have another season of 3rd or 4th and what could have been. This ain't on, Dan. Sorry.
Facts. Everything you just said is absolute facts. And unfortunately, look, Matthew, big up to you. Appreciate your support, but I disagree with a lot of what you've said in the last couple of messages that you've put there. And I know we all have difference of opinions, but Wenger never challenged for the title in the last 5 years. Arteta done that for the last 2 seasons. Dan, when did Wenger last achieve the last season that Arteta had in his last 5 years? Okay, let me answer this. I do not want to just challenge. I want to challenge and win trophies. There's a huge difference between what we were doing. When Wenger was not at his best in his last 10 years, he still managed to walk away with FA Cups. And Arteta won one in his first year. And since he's had it everything his way, he's failed at every hurdle. And I'm sorry, like, I hate to say this, like, because I want him to do well. I want him to win us everything at the club. You know, people think I want him to fail. I don't want him to fail. I want Arsenal to do that every single year with at least 2 of the damn things. But unfortunately, we ain't in that market at the moment. Now, look, we can get to January, we can start surprising us. The board at the moment need to sort us out. I'm looking at the Cronkies, big in time. People think there's pressure on Arteta. There's pressure on my bloody owners from me. I'll tell you that now. Because are they happy with this process? Are they happy with where we are? Are they happy with the summer window? Because I ain't happy with it. This ain't about one and done. Oh, we won the league. Brilliant. Right, let's go sort the Colorado Rapids and the Rams out again now. They need me help. This is about wanting to dominate world football. This isn't about, oh, we finally won a Premier League. Brilliant. Right, I'm off to the cricket now. Sell me a season ticket. We're done. It's one and done. I ain't about that. We want to dominate. I want to go win trophies. I want to consistently win them. And let's be real, when the chips have been down, the only team that don't win in the Big Six are Spurs. I don't want to be like them, by the way. Yeah, because they're the only ones out of the 6 of us that don't win. When we're bad, we win FA Cups. Man United have been a shambles for how long? They've won FA Cups, League Cups, and Europa Leagues. Liverpool been in turmoil for how long? How many Champions Leagues they won in the last 2 decades? Chelsea dominated. Man City dominated. When is it our turn to dominate? We're spending more than half them teams, by the way. It's only Chelsea and Man United that spent more than Arsenal in the last 10 years. We've spent more than Real Madrid. It's time to deliver now, man. It's time to deliver, Chris.
I'm not arguing with you, Dan. It is. And we'll just have to wait and see, mate. But, you know, like, people's patience won't last forever. I'll tell you that in there.
No, it won't. No, it won't. And, you know, look, let me ask you lastly, before we come to a close. The next few games are, well, they're important, to say the least. We've got a couple of cup games in there now as well, the Emirates, Man United and Palace as well. Don't get me started on FA Cup draws, by the way. Last 3 years. How have we got Man United, Man City and Liverpool in the last 3 years? But they're massively important. And I'll say this, they're winnable, Chris. We've got from now right the way through to the new year. I think Arsenal need to win every game. And I know that's going to be hard, but I think we do need to, mate.
Let me think. So we got Wednesday night, Everton, Ipswich, Palace. Yeah, they're all winners. Yeah, you're right. I can't argue with it. They've all got to be. But then I suppose you've got it in that. You've got to think about what injuries we're going to have. Is he going to, what sort of rotations he going to do? There's a lot of variables. But you're right. We have to, but whether we will, Dan, is another thing.
Absolutely. Look, it's an absolute pleasure having you on, mate. I love talking football with you. I love the passion and I love the fact that we're both on the same wavelength with a lot of stuff. But look, people, we need to go on a run. We've got to try and get behind it and try and see where it takes us and have another discussion in the new year and see where Arsenal are at. Hopefully we've been the Carabao Cup. We take that seriously. FA Cup, we take that seriously. We need to. Domestic Cups are massive for Arteta this year. Champions League, let's be real, to be fair, if we get in the top 8, I'll be quite impressed. We beat Monaco and Zagreb at home. We should pretty much do it. As long as we don't go to Girona and, you know, get hammered, we should be all right. And I think we can win all 3 of them. So that's Champions League. So if the league is done for now, let's not give up on it, but let's actually concentrate on the other trophies and let's see if we can win a couple of trophies this season because we should be able to. But big up to everyone for watching. Make sure you do me a favour. Make sure you're following Chris on social media. Just put Chris Hudson in on Twitter. I'm sure that you will find him. Make sure you are looking at both manscaped.com and our new sponsors, Reality Raffles. If you do want to get to a game, then please click on the link in the pinned comments and then get involved in that raffle prize. It's only 90p a ticket. It's absolute bargain, people. For a £500 match day experience, it must be worth it. So please make sure you do that. Use the code FTM10. You'll get 10% off of it. FTM10. Make sure you do that. And yeah, look, we're out of here. We'll see you next time. Big up. And I'll be back later on today. See you soon.